Hello, Saber Forum. Manroon here with my first video review in a little while now. Been a while since I bought something new, but as you can see, this is the shock I ordered. Maybe probably about 2 weeks ago now. I've had it for just a little under a week, and just got the chance to shoot a review of it here for you. And yeah, this is the saber that also happened to win me the raffle. I got what was it? Third prize. It was a Consular Green Phantasm V2. Very cool. I want to thank Deep and Ultra and all the guys at Ultrasabers and the girls too for just being so awesome, making such great sabers for us, and putting on so many raffles and sales, and you guys are so awesome to your customers, it's not even funny. Anyways, just here's the sort of the overall hilt, and I would like to say that I ordered this with the specs set to be as close as possible, in my opinion, to Corran Horn's first lightsaber, which really gets overlooked in the saber community. I've never heard of or seen a lightsaber done to match that one, and there's really only a incredibly brief description of it in the Krytos Trap, if you have read the X-Wing novels. And I liked that saber because reading that scene, being the X-Wing jockey that I am, reading that page in the book, it just reminded me a lot of Episode 4 and the first time Luke gets his lightsaber. It just gave me a similar feeling, and I was kind of captivated by the thought of a silver lightsaber, of a white blade, which I also like because in Episode 4, in the original cuts of that movie, most of the time you saw the blue lightsabers, they were very, very light, almost white. I mean, they were lighter than Arctic blue. And I've just always loved that color as a lightsaber blade. So, unfortunately, the only thing I could not really match is the lightsaber described in the book is supposed to have a sliding locking switch, which, of course, try and find one. But, I mean, if you're building a saber from scratch, you can get one fairly easily, but if you're ordering one somewhere, it'd be a little tricky to put in. So I went with the non-illuminated AV switch. I have a red illuminated AV on my Bellicose Tenbasan, which I probably mispronounced, but, either way. And this is the first one I've had with a bezel on it, and very nice. I like the bezel on the AV switch. It looks cleaner. It's a little loose. I don't mind that at all. I think it gives the saber a little bit of character. And the switch itself is solid. It's just the bezel that kind of rattles a little bit. But no big deal. I like it that way. I prefer it that way. And, the whole saber has a nice, clean shine to it. This is a mid-grade regular blade that I ordered with it because I was being cheap. I normally like heavy grades, but I only had so much money. And I preferred getting the AV switch and all the bells and whistles to getting another heavy blade. Not like I can use that many of them at the same time anyway. And something else I'd like to point out about the hilt itself before I get too far into the review is that if you look on the website, on the sale page and in the store, whether you're buying the parts or the finished saber, the US site actually shows the shock as having a plain pommel with no grooves. And mine showed up. It's a plain pommel. It's normal finish, but it has the same grooves in it as the LE and the Dark Shock. And I honestly don't know if this was a change I saw or heard about a while back and just forgot about, or if it's something I never heard about. But I really like it. I think it gives the saber the extra step and just kind of finishes it off real elegantly instead of having a blocky cap on the end. You know, it also has kind of different vent holes on the bottom of it compared to my other sabers. I just like the different pattern. It seems a little more utilitarian, a little more functional, and it just matches what a clan saber should be to me, which is plain, simple, utilitarian, but still with just a hint of elegance to say that it is in fact a lightsaber. So without further ado, the specs. I ordered this with an Adegan silver LED, obsidian with a buck and the lithium ion setup, non-illuminated AV switch, and flash on clash, which I had them set to Sentinel Yellow, because much like my decision to get this hilt a while back, as some of you may recall in my last purchase of the Arbiter, Com influenced me to try Sentinel Yellow, and I'm kind of hooked on it. It's a really beautiful color. So without further ado, here we have the blade, and it comes across very blue, very, very blue in the video here. Well, it's a little bit lighter now that I'm getting further away, but I assure you it is a bright white. It does not look anything at all like a fluorescent light or anything like that. It really does look like a saber blade, and it's very cool. It is not at all the impression you get from looking online. Pictures just don't do it justice. It's a great color. It's really cool, and it's interesting because it's it's a very vibrant white. It's very bright, but it doesn't blind you the way Guardian Blue or sometimes Consular Green can. It's just kind of hard to describe because it's really bright, but it's not blinding like that. But at the same time, I almost want to say that it is brighter than those colors. But anyways, you can hear the obsidian here. And as I said, this is a mid-grade blade, so I find that to be a very good balance for this saber. It gives it a nice weight, good balance, and just sort of, it's great for spins. See if I can kind of show you a spin here, courtesy of my mirror and my left hand, which is not my best spinning hand, but try another reverse spin there, you can kind of see. Has a good balance, really nice weight. I think this hilt would be good for either Makashi or your traditional, two-handed Gemso or Soresu. Actually, very nice for Soresu. It kind of goes back and forth for your blocks really well, up, down. Has a nice balance, and just it's a very flowing hilt for fighting. It moves really well, which I find to be sort of rare, because even in the best combat designed lightsabers that I have, it just sort of for some reason when you're moving them, it seems to me like almost every saber has a certain angle where it kinks at, where your wrist will kind of hitch in the movement a little bit if you turn it the wrong way. And so far, I haven't fought with the shock, but I've done a lot of spinning and moving around with it, and I have yet to find that spot. I have yet to find the spot where it just hitches or gets in the way, or my hand doesn't move with it. It's very nice. I think it'll be a great fighting hilt. And aside from that, let me turn it back on here and show you the flash on clash, now that I've stopped blabbering about how it handles. Just kind of give you and I love that. It looks really about how you see it. It's kind of halfway between yellow and orange, or like a sort of an almost like a darker peachy kind of flash, because it's mixing the white and the yellow when it flashes, and it looks really cool because it gives you that effect like you saw in episode 4 when the sabers clashed. There was a yellow flash to them, and when I do my flash on clashes, I like to get as close as possible to that, and I think that looks the best. And I like it to be a subtle change, and between yellow and white, or yellow and orange, the two I've tried, those are really good, subtle changes that just look great. And here's the lockup for you. Also kind of does that same thing like I was talking about a second ago. And just for a little final comparison here, I will give it, these are fully charged lithium ions that are in here right now. I just pulled them out of the charger before I did this video. And here is half charged normal rechargeable AAA's energizers with consular green to kind of show you the difference in brightness. They're really pretty close. I think the white is brighter, but the green kind of holds onto your eye more with, you know, sort of like how Guardian Blue has that after image effect if you run it in front of your face real fast. But, of course, green doesn't do that as much, but you can kind of see the difference I'm talking about. They're really comparable in brightness. The white is sort of brighter, but you almost notice the green more. But it's, either way, they're both really bright. They're both great. And I'm loving the shock so far. And just, I would also like to comment, though I'm not going to play around with getting the blade out and everything right here. It takes a lot of time to do on video, and I'm already running kind of long. It is a great belt hanger. Rarely have I had a saber that feels as good hanging on your belt as the shock. The shock has the right weight, the right feel, the right swing to it to just kind of make you feel like you're wearing a lightsaber. And it just works. And it's a very solid hilt. It doesn't have a lot of, you know, shaking around of the parts inside of it. It's very well put together, very well assembled. And I'll just give you another beauty pass on the hilt here. I love the emitter. Really cool. I initially intended to paint it, but I'm thinking I'm just going to leave it blank. I may buy a spare emitter and paint that one, but the hilt just looks so great the way it is. I think this is the only hilt I've got that I very likely will not modify at all. It's I just love this hilt. It's really cool. And I definitely recommend if you do get this. The LE looks great. I've seen the LE in person. It's a cool hilt. But the one thing that bugs me about the LE is that on the LE, the top part of the emitter here, the flange, is all anodized gold. And to me, that just looks weird to my eye. And having it plain like this, I really like. It looks, to me, it just seems a little bit more realistic that way. But real quick here, just at the tail end of this review, I also want to show you guys the other thing that came with this order on my Saber kit box here is my first blade plug, which I absolutely love. It's great. Simple, you know, it's not like it's got a whole bunch of little gears or anything, just a little flat metal disc, you know, stuck in there in the in a little length of blade material. You know, probably about the thickness of a heavy grade blade here, and you know, a little long, probably about 2 inches long, and depending on which emitter you put it in, I've found some of them it will stick out of, some of them it will slide right into. With the shock, it has maybe about a half an inch, 3/4 of an inch between it and the top of the emitter, plenty of room. If I stick it in, say, my V2 SI, it'll stick out the end a little bit because of the slanted emitter. But you can trim them down real easy, and they're great to have. I would not recommend that you put one into your saber and then turn the saber on and look at it directly, because it's still very bright. It's a great safety feature, and it will keep you from getting, you know, completely blasted by the LED if you turn it on by accident, or if a crazy friend looks down the barrel and presses the button, and we've all had friends that do that. But it's enough to keep somebody from getting seriously hurt, but it's still gonna leave. You're still gonna be seeing spots a little bit if you look down the barrel with one of these in there. But they're great. They look really cool, and personally, I'd like to pick up a couple more just because throwing one of these in your hilt makes it display a little bit better. If somebody picks it up off the shelf, or if you're just wearing it, it looks really cool to actually have something in the emitter besides the little reflector for the LED. So, anyways, that's all I have for this review. And long story short, if you guys are thinking about getting a shock, get one. They are great. You will not regret it. They're a really cool hilt. They're really well balanced, and I think they're sort of I've heard they're one of the more popular sabers that Ultra offers, one of their better sellers. But I think that the plain shock is probably a little bit of a sleeper. I think more people probably go. I know I've seen more reviews for the dark and the LE. I think the plain is a sleeper. I think it looks really good. It handles great, and I think it's just one of those hilts that doesn't quite stand out or get quite the credit that it really deserves. It's a great hilt. I love mine. And if you get one, you'll love it too. It's really cool. And it's different than the rest of my collection. I mean, if you take a look, it's kind of similar to the modified Archon I have here, but the only other thing remotely similar to it is my Arbiter. If you look the SI, the Prophecy, the Bellicose, my Luke and Vader over there, stock, it's nothing like them. It's different. It is a clan saber, and that's different than the detailed sabers and the entry-level sabers that most people buy. So it's a nice, different piece to have for your collection. But anyways, that's about all for today, and I hope you guys enjoyed the review. And if you're thinking about one of these, I can't stress enough, they're a great saber. So may the Force be with you, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.